Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. Let's get everything up and running here. This is fantastic. There we go. So we're talking about negotiation today, which is fantastic. And need to join. There we are. Now we're in it. Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, what I need to find is my background. I wonder why I've got this funny background and no brand cover bubble, minimal. Isn't that something? We just need to have us. Anyhow, I don't want to take you away from a whole lot what you're doing. I should have had this going long before that. I'm just trying to coordinate my StreamYard. So we're going to go live here and why? And super, I'm live, but unfortunately on LinkedIn, for those of you that have joined us there, I'm not able to figure out how to get our background. And it's just showing me, and isn't that something? Not really sure why that is. Anyhow, I will figure that out. So welcome everybody. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy and the Auto Dealership Academy. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're talking about negotiation, and in negotiation, how we can be better at it, because there are a number of trainers, teachers, authors, speakers that are traveling the countryside and sharing with all of you how you can sell more automobiles, cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, with the ability to negotiate more effectively and better. And it couldn't come at a better time, quite frankly, in my opinion, because as automobile salespeople, I don't think we do a really great job studying negotiation enough. What negotiation really is all about, other than being the obvious, getting to yes, is the ability to recognize that there is a process. Negotiation is an act. You must be willing to accept the fact that there are actions, there are activities, there are steps and a process to follow, because if you don't know that, recognize that the people that you're dealing with may very well know that. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, you know what, I've done so much in negotiation, there's nothing new, the customer hasn't changed, the problem is the same, we advertise on any platform, be it in I don't think a lot of us are using newsprint anymore, but even on the radio, and then of course digital, and the consumer emails in, I'll give you 5, 10, 20, half the price of what you're advertising your product for. That isn't necessarily negotiation. That is dipping their toes in the water and seeing if you would be receptive to negotiation. And 9 times out of 10, what most of us do is we get angry, we get frustrated, we get annoyed with those ridiculous offers. Well, here's the thing. A fundamental of negotiation, when you study negotiation, is that you can always go down in price, but you cannot go up in price. And this is the reason why you set your price at a fair market value, and you think it's fair market and it's a good buy, and it very, very well may be, but the consumer sees that price not so much as the irresistible offer, which is what you are going to sell and attract them to you, but they see it as, you know, it's negotiable. It's an automobile. It's the second greatest financial decision we make next to buying a house. Therefore, there must be room. You must have padded that price with a little bit of room. Now, a little bit of room, yes, we always have wiggle room. Can we knock off $50, $100, $200, $500 on a 70, 80, 90, six-figure automobile? I should think that you probably can. Now, that would be at first glance. I'm not suggesting for a second, can we do those kind of drops after you've gone through a heated battle of negotiation and the client says again, hey, is that your very best price? Can you do better? That may not be necessarily the best time for us to be able to be $50, $100, $500 negotiable. But at the very beginning, when the customer first meets with us, we certainly are. But here's the thing. With negotiation, more of us get angry, frustrated, annoyed, and therefore combative because we are not comfortable with the word no. If there is one thing that I can teach you, excuse me, pardon me. Let me take a drink of water real quick. If there's one thing that you can pick up from this particular session, and I'm happy to put a link below for you to book a discovery call with me and chat with me about it, is to be comfortable in the risk and the conflict zone. When we deliver up our close, and that is met with negotiation, that's a great thing, number one. Don't get excited and upset and offended when somebody says, whoa, hang on a second, I haven't said anything about buying it, we haven't talked price yet, let's iron those details out. That is a magnificent sign that you have done a wonderful job building the value bridge from what their old vehicle won't do to what the new one is going to do. And therefore, they are interested in owning the product if you have an irresistible offer that they want to capitalize on. An irresistible offer is not 0%. That's a good advertisement irresistible offer, and that can pique someone's attention who has transcended the process of thinking, talking, research. They've touched and felt the vehicle in a non-confrontational situation where they cannot buy it, and now they're here to see you, and that could be on the phone, that could be emailing in, but ideally walking into the showroom. That's a great incentive, 0%. Another great incentive would be $13 a day. Another great incentive would be $113 a week. Another great incentive would be a really low bi-weekly, such as $226 bi-weekly, or a $432 monthly payment. So those irresistible offers are what captivate interest when the client has transcended that buying process. So everybody is going to transcend that buying process, even your unintentional buyers with the traffic that you control of repeat referral network and service department upgrades. But when it comes to negotiation, and I think everybody is at some point going to ask you, is this the very best that you can do? Then you have to, as effectively and efficiently as you possibly can, ensure that you've built the rapport to be able to close the deal. Rapport is the relationship. And when we have that relationship of friendship, now I'm not saying for a second that your goal throughout selling automobiles should be to make a friend, make a sale. That makes life a whole lot easier. But your goal should be to build enough rapport with the client that you can quite candidly speak off the cuff, for that matter, such as, look, I get it, you want to think about it. Will 2 or 3 days be long enough for you to think about it? Now, so that you have all the information that you need to be able to make this decision, let's just recap. That is almost the most effective reassessment and compromise, but it leverages a skill that we're going to talk about, active listening, so that we get that client to yes. So when we're building rapport with our client, the ultimate goal to build rapport with them is to earn their trust. You earn their trust by being sympathetic to the fact that purchasing an automobile is not made in jest. It's not made easily. It is a significant purchase, second greatest one next to buying a house. For most people, specifically me, I'm going to talk about myself. It would be, for me to purchase an automobile, would be the most significant purchase that I make, next to paying taxes, of course. But I don't buy taxes. I have to. That's an obligation. We all need to go through that. The point that I want to make here is that some individuals who have no plans of moving out of the current home that they're living in and have found the dream home, and if that dream home is in fact paid for, then an automobile is the greatest financial decision that they make. And this is what they wrestle with. And this is the challenge that we experience with negotiation. And when you think to yourself, yeah, all the negotiation stuff that I've learned in the past and what I've been told doesn't work, or I can't make it work, or I can't close the broadside of a barn door right now. Sometimes you go through a bad cycle of bad clients and bad customers. However, if you offer choices for your clients, they feel more in control. And that alone is a rapport building exercise for you to leverage when negotiating. When somebody says, hey, would you take $1,000 off, $5,000 off, $25,000 off your product, what they're telling you is, this is what my budget is. I like that product. This is what my budget is. And you should be hearing through active listening, Okay, there's the budget. I get it. You like that. Don't we all? We love Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, Cadillac, Lincoln, Acura, Lexus. But the reality is we are Mazda, Honda, Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, Nissan, Mitsubishi drivers. And that is because those vehicles will fit our budget so that we don't strain and stretch ourselves too much, that in the event of a rainy day coming along in the particular market that we're currently in, doesn't strain the financial household that we have to start liquidating assets and then finding a new place to live, which would be the worst case scenario. So when you really understand and sympathize with, not empathize. Empathize is saying, yeah, vehicles are really expensive. Yes, the prices have gone up so much, and as a result of hyperinflation and the supply chain shortage, and you know, there's, I don't know what to tell you folks. That's empathizing. That does not help your situation. That compounds the problem, the pain that the customer is currently experiencing, having to make this decision, and the fear of not being able to go down the road and keep shopping for another automobile because the pain of having theirs not being functional, not being useful, not being reliable, has to be solved right now. The desire is always there. The desire was at the very beginning point of the thinking, talking, research phase. So you can count on the fact they want your product unquestionably, but your greatest competition is going to be the next dealer down the road. So this is where you need to get really good at building rapport in the preparing yourself for the negotiation, recognizing that if you do wind up in the risk and the conflict zone at a no, it doesn't mean, no, I'm not going to buy from you now, or if ever for that matter. It just simply means, no simply means, I want to negotiate. I like your product. I want to see if you can help me get a good deal. That's building rapport, making those friends. And for you to point out to them, based on what they would like to pay, the automobile that they could own. Now, that can be misconstrued and complicated as closing, and that is not. Closing is, with your approval, I will go and request a time for delivery. When would you like to pick it up? Today, tomorrow, or the following day? That is finalizing the deal. When we're negotiating and we say, okay, what I hear you say is that your budget will really work on this particular automobile over here, means you're actively listening and trying to come up with those solutions. Then you can repeat back to them at the number that they would like to pay. This particular model fits that perfectly. You're probably going to get another no, which is in fact a positive response, because the client is going to continue to want the very first one that you showed them, or the one that they came in on, or the one that they inquired on. That is the point of selling. Getting them what they want, how and where they want it, is the easiest and the fastest way to close a deal. However, when you negotiate your gross profit away, when you negotiate to a lower commission structure, you know you're not actually creating a pleasant situation for your client. As much as you think that that is the solution, running off to the manager with that first offer to see if they can do it, somehow we can work it. And quite frankly, managers, any managers watching this video, please don't say to your sales team anymore, ever again, we work the deal at the desk. Just get a number out of the client. We'll work the deal at the desk. Just bring us any kind of offer at all. And certainly don't do this 40, 50-year-old tactic of taking up their worksheets, crumpling up in a little piece of paper, throwing it in the waste paper bin and say, you got nothing. Now go back and get some money from the customer. That didn't work in the day. Doesn't work today. Customers would be thoroughly offended by it. And salespeople will never believe that every shopper is a buyer. So that's the first step. You know every shopper is a buyer, because at this point in negotiation, and this can happen at the interview when they say, what's your very best price? That's all I'm looking for. I don't need to see it, drive it, know anything about it. I'm not even sure if I'm going to trade my vehicle in. But at this point in time, I'd really like to know what your lowest price is. Now, that's a question that doesn't really sound like it's opening the door to negotiation, but it certainly is. Because you're going to have to ask them if this vehicle advertisement price is affordable. If they say that's your best price, then let me go home and sleep on it. is where we have to go back and review currently what are they paying on the trade-in that they currently got. So that is going to be the budget, the perfect budget right out of the gate. But there's the human eraser, right? Here's the challenge with finding out what they're currently paying on the vehicle, moving forward to what the new one will be. If they have a 5-6-year-old vehicle, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old vehicle, even worse, those monthly payments could be, Dodge years ago had a pickup truck on a lease for $200 or $250. Now, those leases would have expired at this point, but if the client is leveraging that as their payment, a $200 bi-weekly payment, and we all know that that is a really great bi-weekly in today's day and age where those payments have at least gone up by 50%, if not 100, 200, and 300%. This makes your negotiation really quite challenging because you just can't do it on the vehicle. This is math. This is a simple problem. So that's why we need to show them what their budget will yield in terms of what they would like to get and get their confirmation whether they would even consider it. If they would purchase that lesser vehicle, and I'm seeing a lot of buyers do this right now, then you've got yourself a sale. And in fact, you could sell it at a really decent gross profit. The reason why you want to be most effective at negotiating and maintaining gross profit is you can do this comparison for yourself. If you compare all the people that you sold automobiles to, what they paid for it and how much you earned, and then adding another column to that, the customer satisfaction indicator, the customer experience score, or the customer indicator, you can quite easily, the sales satisfaction indicator, you can quite easily see that the people that pay the most are the happiest. So when you get effective and efficient at negotiating and helping customers make the decision that they want to make based on the budget that they currently have, and you maximize that efficiency with the particular product that you got, meaning you're getting the most gross profit that you can possibly get, then the customer is happy and will send you repeat referral, and they'll network with their friends and family to send you more traffic to them because they see the value in you and the automobile. If there is 10, 20, or 50% to save off on the vehicle, and they ask, but you cannot deliver that, and you eloquently, through active listening, share with them and repeat over and over again what the hot items were that they would like to have on the vehicle, that's not convincing them, that's not forcing, that's not coercing, that's not controlling them to the decision that they want to make. That's helping reinforce the plan that they set out to make with us today anyway. Now, the only way in order for you to do that efficiently and effectively is with dynamite product knowledge. As much as we talk about negotiation and the tactics that we can leverage in negotiation, when you look at the process of negotiation where we have our statements of goals and objectives, which is really quite simple. Ours is to sell an automobile, theirs is to buy an automobile, so we're aligned there. And then the next thing would be to get to know each other. Well, that's building rapport. I've already talked about that. The next thing that we would want to cover off is the major and minor chart. What are the things that they are willing to give up on in order to be able to get this vehicle? What are we willing to concede and give up on in order to make the deal happen? And of course, that's probably going to be pricing as a big part of that. But when you factor in to that major and minor chart, your product knowledge, your walk around presentation, your demonstration drive from your interview process, those 8 activities that lead to the sale, before you ever get out and show anything, you've landed on the right vehicle and you know what the hot buttons are, you can leverage your product knowledge to your advantage here in negotiation, that by taking some of the features out of the automobile that you may not even be able to take out whatsoever would yield a lower trim level, which a lower trim level would put them in a less expensive automobile, effectively still getting the body style that they want if it is just a trim level down. If the price is so significant that they have to go to a much lower price, then we may have to go to a whole model down. But at the end of the day, if they want a pickup truck, having a less expensive truck to go to, such as a pre-owned, is an excellent solution to help the client stay focused on the very first one that they came in on, recognizing that as much as they would like to save this much money, the reality is this is what it costs. That is how you get excellent customer satisfaction, because you could survey your clients that got the best deal in the entire world, and just thinking back to that last deal that you did, you probably find out that they weren't really happy with the deal at the end of the day. They weren't super elated when they came in to pick the vehicle up on delivery. Maybe you have one of these customers in the service department that are coming in on a regular basis, and they're wondering why the radio doesn't get perfect reception all the time, or why the adaptive cruise control, when you set it, it takes a moment for it to engage, or the automatic four-wheel drive in inclement weather driving, or sand or mud. But I'm probably talking, and most noticeably in snow and ice, why it engages abruptly, or the vehicle lurches before it engages, or when the wheels are turned all the way over, the vehicle seems to bind and hold up. Those individuals, because they got such a fantastic deal in the automobile, and you may have conceded too early in negotiation, believe that maybe you sold it because there was a problem with it. Those individuals that pay the fair market value by you building the value bridge, highlighting and detailing the product features that are so magnificent, really appreciate ownership of the vehicle because they know they couldn't get a better deal anywhere else. Look, manufacturers have experimented with one price pricing for a long period of time. And unfortunately, because of our competition laws preventing us from all being able to sell right across the board at one price, we must be negotiable, especially in these high-ticket items. This opens the door for everybody to want to negotiate. But the individuals that didn't negotiate, couldn't negotiate, we're really quite happy with that because 83% of consumers don't like negotiation. And this is a fact that we don't really follow and study enough. You know, when you negotiated for an apartment for yourself at whatever age, maybe you've purchased a house at this point. Maybe you've purchased 3 or 4 or 5, 10 vehicles up to this point. When you went through those negotiation activities and you thought to yourself you're pretty good at it, what process were you actually following? What made you good at it? What book did you read, like Getting to Yes or following Chris Voss on YouTube and seeing what his negotiation suggestions are? This is what our customers do in that 6 month of research before they ever get into the dealership. Now, as we go through the process of doing the major and minor chart, and now we get to reassessment and compromise, this is where you really got to decide that if I let them go home to think about it, will they actually come back and purchase from us? Because the reality is your greatest competition is the next in brand, same brand as yours, down the road that they're going to talk to. So is there a less expensive automobile that you can go to, or is there enough wiggle room within the pricing and the gross profit of this vehicle that you can accommodate this client, thinking to yourself, well, this isn't the only good deal I'm going to get from them. So maybe this is the self-liquidating offer where we do take a skinny deal, a skinny commission, a low gross profit deal for the purpose of the customer promising to send us 2 really great leads, either co-workers or neighbors or friends or family. This is the point. Rather than just saying, that's the best we can do, take it or leave it. If you want to think about it, I get it. Just recognize that it may not be here when you come back and you just may simply pay more. That is not being empathetic. That's not, pardon me, being sympathetic to their situation, right? That's empathy. That's throwing the towel. That's giving up. And I don't think that you ever need to do that in negotiation, especially if, again, through active listening, you're going through and recapping how to get to yes, all the things that they liked and they wanted to go to. And of course, this is how it complements negotiation, complements closing. You know, when we're trying to get that final stage of finalizing the deal, closing the door, cutting off the decision of continuing to shop, you can't forget to ask for the sale. If you could certainly say something like, I get it, you want to pay a little bit less, let me go and talk to the boss, see what I can do, I'll be right back. All you simply did is made a statement. You don't have confirmation that in the event that we can sell it for less, the client will buy it right now. negotiate that getting to yes before you ever leave your office, before you ever go and talk to the boss about getting more for the trade or getting a little bit more off the vehicle. Make sure you know when, and if there are any managers in the room watching this or listening to this video, make sure you ask that salesperson, how do you know your client would like to buy the vehicle and absolutely will for sure take delivery of it in the event that we can do that vehicle for that price? If you don't have, as a sales manager, as the boss, you don't have that confirmation, that affirmation, unquestionably, absolutely, that they will take it if we can meet that price, then don't we have to go back to step number 3, product presentation, or even step number 2, product selection? Don't we have to make sure that we're on the right vehicle to begin with? I think there's a lot of average, ordinary automobile salespeople that start on the wrong vehicle, stay on the wrong vehicle, and they're absolutely bewildered why the customer needs to go home and sleep on it, talk to a spouse, think about it for a couple of days, talk to their mechanic, because it was the wrong vehicle to start with. And you did such a fantastic job presenting the vehicle, the shopper does not know how to say, I don't want to buy it, or I can't afford it, or I don't know how to tell you without embarrassing myself, I was never in the market for a Corvette, a Mustang, a Camaro, a Challenger, a Charger, a Trackhawk, a T-type, a V-type automobile. You know, these are the higher trim levels that are a little bit more expensive. We make the mistake of putting those ones in the showroom and everybody falls in love with it. If you haven't absolutely done an excellent job of narrowing the selection down so that you can pick the perfect vehicle that is well within their budget by sharing with them what the advertised price is, then you created the negotiation problem for yourself. And how can you overcome, how can you get, number one, comfortable in negotiation with no? Well, quite easily by asking the questions. By asking questions, you gather more intel. And as asking more questions, and specifically open-ended questions, guess who feels like they're in charge? Because they're making the decision, because you're asking for their input as opposed to every other ordinary average automobile salesperson that is just puking data and information and then relies on the slick, smooth, almost cheesy, definitely salesy closing lines and negotiation tactics that more come across as trickery as opposed to helping the customer make the decision that they want to make today. Look, every single shopper wants to enjoy this process. As much as the automotive journalists and automotive experts will pontificate that automobiles are simply appliances to take us from A to B. Well, if that were the case, then everybody would drive a Fit or a Yaris. But the reality is, they are still luxury items. They are wonderfully crafted. They have the most amazing creature comforts and features inside. And with those creature comforts, you should be talking about the benefit of why they would want an 11-inch center stack TFT sunlight readable screen to control all the vehicle functions of heater, ventilation, air conditioning, radio, infotainment system. You receive their emails and texts and hands-free driving. You should share with them why all the benefits of that center stack will deliver for them. All the benefits of stability control, which is only possible with anti-lock brakes, which we never talk about anymore, and traction control, because without anti-lock brakes and the wheel speed sensors, there's no possible way the vehicle stability control system will have any idea that we're in an oversteer and an understeer situation. And again, something that we are not talking about, where so many customers have purchased automobiles with these magnificent driving dynamics on them, not to mention slow speed stopping, cross traffic alert, and the vibrating seat to alert you of the fact that you may be wandering in the lane and potentially getting tired. Those are the newest, latest, and greatest features that everybody wants to purchase and own. But what's the real benefit of that? The benefit could be if it is a mom or a dad, someone of my age that has a young driver in the family of 17, 18, 19, 20 years of age, or even a new driver, someone who has never had their license before, which is not unusual, that is turning 30 years of age. These driving dynamic systems will assure the person who owns the vehicle, the parent or the grandparent, or the individual who's buying it for themselves, that in an emergency situation, which we encounter once every 7,000 kilometers or 4,800 miles, the driving dynamics will assure you that the vehicle will not lose control. all of which can be reiterated during the negotiation when the client says, no, that's too much. Say, okay, well, hang on a second. Let's go through it line by line, because I'm not necessarily clear on at what point when we've selected the perfect vehicle that this one wouldn't be affordable and right up your alley and exactly what you'd like to own. I hope you got a lot out of this session today. The only thing that I didn't touch on, which I absolutely love and believe it is a much larger topic than the amount of time that we have available here, is the emotional intelligence. You really have to pick up on the emotional cues that alert you to the fact that, yes, this is the vehicle that they would like to own. These are the features that they would like to have. And you'll only know that those are the features they'd like to have based on the benefit of your presentation of those features, which will help solidify and diminish, in fact, disqualify negotiations so that you can close without negotiation. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy and the Auto Dealership Academy. Thank you so much for joining me today here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. It's been a fantastic session. I really enjoyed it. You know, it is the summertime. If you are not where you want to be this month, if you are not in double digits where you want to be selling, if you want to double your sales rate, if you're at 4, you want to get to 8, you're at 8, you want to get to 16, if you're at 16, you want to be at 32, then click on the link below. 15 minutes could really change your life. I'm really happy to share with you strategy and tactic in order for you to accomplish that. You know, the economists say this second half of the year, as we close off the second quarter now at the end of this month of June and we start up the next half of the year, is the time where our economy is to bounce back and become really quite optimistic and terrific. You want to be capitalizing on that. Allow everyone else to struggle, fumble along. And the old adage, if you want to earn more, you need to learn more. And I'm not saying for a second that you have to buy the manifesto, our one system of 3 phases and 9 steps that will absolutely assure you will get to your goals of maximum potential. But without that, you'll be running around, chasing your tail, chasing shiny objects, getting ghosted by clients, because it's coming down to our ability to negotiate, our communication strategy to close, through our presentation secrets, all of which are completely useless if you don't have customers coming in. And we cannot rely on traditional advertising anymore. Certainly newsprint is completely done, or if it is not completely done, it is on the verge of being there, with how few people buy a newspaper, how thin the newspaper is now. Digital is so popular, and you can capitalize on a lot of free, which a better word for free is organic advertising, to draw people to you. And I'm not just talking about Facebook Marketplace, and I'm not just talking about free ads on Kijiji or on Craigslist, but truly organic, free, no cost digital advertising that can reach a wide audience. It really doesn't have any parameters, and reel people in with your irresistible offer, your irresistible character, and you can sell those 8s, 16s, 32s with predictable consistency, because it's your messaging, it's your communication ability that customers really buy into and like. Again, book a call with me, a discovery call. Happy to share all those details with you. If you want to know more about the manifesto, our one system of 3 phases and 9 steps that we guarantee you will get to where you want to be. We will work with you absolutely hand in hand. We will take you through it. There's weekly classes. There's one-on-one coaching opportunities that you can get as many and as much as you want to. We will guarantee that you get to achieve your maximum potential in the shortest period of time. Have a wonderful day. Fantastic holiday weekend for those of you in Canada, and obviously in the States, your holiday is coming up as well. And I look forward to chatting with all of you again next Wednesday at 11 o'clock on the platform of your choice. We'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.